Eagles fans, it's just so they're so passionate. That's what I'm saying, angry, but being nice about it. I feel for you guys, man.
Hey, Tom, see if your boy Marshall's logging on, man.
Did you text him?
Yeah.
Oh, look at this! Look at this!
Wow,
Marshall, what's up, bro?
Unbelievable. We just assumed that you would be like, man, I got stuff to do. I'm not coming on with these fools.
We're in a pandemic. Nobody's got anything to do.
No, I got plenty of things to do. Bear's just lucky he called me right before I was walking out the door to go for a run. He's just lucky.
Any excuse to delay a run.
No question.
That is Marshall Harris at M. Harris on air. CBS Sacramento runs all things. Clearly I know not technically a Philadelphian originally, but you are, like I am and others who have been here for so long, a Philadelphian, and that's how we recognize you. So we thought, wait a second, Sixers, Kings, not only is it a chance to talk about that game, but also see how the hell you're doing, check in with you all the way out west to kind of bring you home a little bit. What's up, Marshall?
I mean, I'm good. How y'all surviving? How y'all flowing? Good to be on with y'all.
Well, hey, man, we just thank you for coming on, man. And right now, we're still a little hot here in Sixers land, man. But what about the game tonight? 10 o'clock. A 10 o'clock game for us, man.
Wait, what are you hot about? I mean, yeah, West Coast games happen. You should know this by now.
We don't play this 10 o'clock stuff, man. Y'all got to get on earlier,
I'll be in bed.
We got too many old people on the show, man.
Here's the funny part. Like you complain about the 10 p.m. games. I love the 10 a.m. games on Sundays. That's the difference between me and you. Like it's just all about disposition. Like, do I want to get up that early and be cognizant and ready to fully watch an NFL game at 10 a.m.? No, but I do it. I mean, there's worse things that can be said, but no, there's a big game tonight. I know Sixers fans aren't in the habit of, as you said, staying up and watching games that come on at 10 p.m. So they probably don't know that the Sacramento Kings are hotter than any team in basketball not named the Utah Jazz. They won 7 of their last 8. The one loss was a 1-point loss at Miami and Jimmy Butler's return, someone who's very familiar to all Sixers fans out there. And they're playing at a really high level. De'Aaron Fox is the reigning Western Conference Player of the Week, averaged 31 points per game. I just tweeted out a stat about how bad the Kings were at the beginning of the season. Before the last 8 games, in which they went 7-1, they were dead last in defensive rating. Even though they've been 13th in defensive rating over the last 8 games, they're still dead last in defensive rating. That's how bad their defense was. It's gotten a lot better. They just won back-to-back games against the Clippers and the Nuggets within a 24-hour span over the weekend. I mean, they're playing at a high level. De'Aaron Fox is – no one can stay in front of him one-on-one. I'm really interested to see what the Sixers do defensively. I know they've had some issues with guards who run pick and roll, whether they're great guards or just regular guards. So I'm interested to see, Joel Embiid gets to go back to the practice gym with his old buddy Rashawn Holmes, who's playing very well at a high level for the Kings. And listen, I know everybody's excited about Tyrese Maxey, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally the second best Tyrese in this draft class. Tyrese Halliburton,
from Iowa State.
Yeah, I don't know how he got to 12, but he is playing like an NBA veteran this year. Play after play after play. It'll be him and LaMelo Ball for Rookie of the Year probably at the end of the season.
Has this win streak coincided with De'Aaron Fox cutting his hair?
No, De'Aaron Fox cut his hair last year before the bubble.
He did?
Yeah. He cut his hair last year before the bubble. But it's his maturation. He signed a big franchise deal over the season, and he's earning his money every bit of it of late. I mean, I told you about what he's done over the last 4 games in the 31 points per game. But even over the last 10, he's averaging 28. He had a career high 43 against the Pelicans, and then he dropped like 38 and 13 against the Pelicans. He's just been really, really good, and he's really big in the fourth quarter. In that game against the Pelicans, he outscored the Pelicans himself in the fourth quarter, 17-15. In the win against the Clippers, like Kawhi. Now, Paul George didn't play in that game, but still doing his thing. And he dropped 14 of his game-high 36 on Sunday in the fourth quarter.
Wow, well, looking at us, man, we're talking more statistically looking at Tobias Harris being the second best guy on the team right now, along with Joel Embiid, man. So, you guys have anything to face that? That's a big
yeah. Harrison Barnes, who you'll all remember from his early Warriors days, and a guy who what would have been the greatest upset I've ever seen in person when the Sixers had them on the ropes at Wells Fargo. The process Sixers had them on the ropes at Wells Fargo Center, and Harrison Barnes hits a big corner three. He's playing at the highest level of his career. I mean, he's teetering on a 40, 50, 90 season, 40% from 50% from the field, 90% from the free throw line. He's been the most consistent King. He's been awesome, and he'll be probably the guy that's D'ing up your guy, Tobias Harris, night. And Tobias has been great. You could argue he's playing at the highest level of his career. So you got two guys going back and forth there. I'm just interested to see what the approach is in defending De'Aaron Fox, whether it'll be Ben Simmons on him, which I don't think will be the case.
I don't think so either.
Maybe you put Danny Green or Seth Curry on him early and then leave Ben Simmons for him in the second half once he's maybe tired down a little bit. Luke Walton got these boys playing.
It's wild, man. I love
who handles Embiid though.
But I love it. I'm sorry, Jake.
Said Holmes.
Rashawn Holmes, former Sixer.
Yeah.
Rashawn Holmes will be on Embiid early, but they'll bring in Hassan Whiteside on the bench. Now, those two have some.
Yeah, they got history. They got history.
Yes.
So I think Whiteside's better now than he was then, but still Embiid is a force of nature. Now, check this out. Saturday, when they beat the Nuggets, they had no answers for Nikola Jokic. He went for a career high 50 points. You can see a game tonight where the Sixers get Embiid to go for 60, but if Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and the rest of those guys don't do anything, the Kings can still win. They're balanced and they're deep.
That's crazy.
That's exactly. I think that is the perfect blueprint, and that's why I think Sacramento, and just from a betting standpoint, they don't have to win. But I think this thing is close. And
what's the line?
Come back. It's at 5. Now I pushed it to 7. Just because I wanted to be comfortable in those two possessions. But 5, it's short at home. I think the Kings hang around the whole night. Look at that look. You don't.
I don't see the Kings. They don't get blown out anymore. They don't, and they're at, like you said, they're at home, which home isn't home here. I mean, I know some places you can have fans stands. I'll be one of like 50 people in the building for this game. But no, I would, if you got 7, I would definitely take the Kings if you got 7. What?
I pushed it and mixed it up with Jason's hockey plays.
Now, what were the odds for that 7? What'd you have to pay? What's the juice?
Yeah, what'd you have to? Yeah.
Well, remember, so real quick, what I'm doing is I'm creating a 3-bet parlay round robin with 4 different plays in there. So I took Jason's 3 hockey plays: Nashville plus 135, Chicago plus 125, and the Jets at plus 110. And I added the 4th leg as Sacramento plus 7 at minus 150. So that minus 150 doesn't hurt me when I'm mixing it with 2 other plus returns.
Well,
Stone Cold degenerate.
Yeah, I'm out with that.
Yeah.
What about this lineup that the Eagles the Sixers have been experimenting with Ben Simmons at the 5? You know what I'm saying? They go small. You think they'll throw that out there for your team?
Well, listen, you say Ben Simmons at the 5. It doesn't really matter. We're playing, first of all, it's positionless basketball. And if anything we've learned, as the guy just mentioned, Nikola Jokic is averaging over 9 assists per game. The more playmakers you have on the floor at different spots on the floor, the better odds you have of getting a high-quality shot. So wherever you put Ben Simmons, you know he's going to make the right play in terms of pass. I know he's still a little hesitant to let that thing fly. It doesn't matter if you surround him with shooters. So as long as he's on the floor at the 5 with shooters around him, he's good to go.
Hey, Marshall, how big of a story is the Carson Wentz trade scenario out in Northern California?
Do me a favor. Hold on 1 second because we're going to take a quick break. And that is why you listen and watch in the break. PhillyVoice.com/the middle. We'll wrap the show on the network coming up next here on Sports Map Radio.
What we feel makes our firm different from others is the fact that we take our lifelong personal approach and experience and apply that in dealing with any client. We don't view a client as a number or another case. We view them as a human being and a person who faces challenges that they never anticipated, or they wouldn't be here. They wouldn't seek us out for help. And we put that personal approach to the forefront to make sure
All right, now the long-awaited, anticipated answer.
There we
Marshall's head was out of the picture. He was laughing so hard at just the nonsense, the craziness.
Man, I sit here and I listen to some radio, and I read stories, and obviously social media exists. I have a lot of Philly people that I follow, and the Carson Wentz thing is hilarious to me. Hilarious because I don't have to deal with it. Let me just point that out. I'm not saying hilarious for actual Eagles fans, but I just love the fact that people are complaining about Wentz, but they're going to complain if Wentz goes somewhere else
and does well.
Absolutely, exactly.
So it's like which edge of the sword do you want on this one? And this is the new NFL where you can just say, I don't want to play anymore. Another Carson kind of set the table for this. If you remember, Carson Palmer was just like, I ain't playing for the Bengals no more. It's like, walk away. Y'all let me know when y'all trade me, and you can find me. I won't make my salary, whatever. But when you already have oodles of money, you can do that.
Right.
It's not like he's some practice squad player just hoping to latch on somewhere. Somebody's going to trade for Carson Wentz, and the Eagles are going to get something for him. Probably not going to get what they want for him, but, you got to wait it out. It's going to be a case, as it is most off seasons the last, 10 years, quarterback musical chairs. I mean, who has a spot left open for him, is willing to pay him and willing to pay the capital to get him. I just love the fact that when you look at Eagles fans, it's just so they're so passionate. That's what I'm saying, angry for being nice about it. I feel for you guys, man. And a Super Bowl win seems like so long ago in the context of talking about trading Carson Wentz.
Definitely does.
That's what makes it sad.
Yeah, I'm under the impression that he's not going anywhere, and I'm probably the only lone soul in this entire United States who's saying this, but hey, I mean, it's just hard for me because draft capital, all that, money means something to me, and it means something to Jeffrey Lurie. So I'm under pressure he's not going anywhere.
So wait, you're saying you think they will bring him back and put him inside the Eagles locker room this coming season?
Absolutely.
Marshall, we have been fighting with this man for
Did they not do the same thing with Riley Cooper?
Oh, hold on. Now we're back. Can you hang for a minute?
Yes.
Okay.
Presented by
He's just got to run. That's it.
That's
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eitan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
We had to ask Marshall Harris, who's with us now on the show, if he could hang for a little bit because we interrupted his run. And now after spending 15 minutes with us, I'm sure he's regretted the decision of not going out and listening to his own thoughts as opposed to ours. That's all.
No, it's 10 o'clock. I just got to get this running real quick. It's not a long. I'm not going for a long. I'm just doing an interval workout. I'm doing it'll end up being around 4 miles, but it's broken up into different speeds and stuff. Trying to drop this pandemic 15, if you will.
You don't look it.
It's kind of like a pandemic 10 now.
Is that the TV thing? Is that you don't have it anywhere where it's on camera? Do you have it on the hips or something?
Oh, I can barely button my jacket. That was the signifier to me that, you needed to handle this because your button on your suit jacket's barely buttons anymore. It's a real issue. And I am the definition of skinny fat. It's just like a tube around my, I should have the fat suit on. Are you familiar with the term muffin top?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's what I look like right now.
Words I live by today. If you can pull it off, you can do it.
But yeah, to you guys, the Carson Wentz point, yes, the news has made it out here to the West Coast because it's NFL news and NFL news. Just like Deshaun Watson, what's going to happen to him has made it out here to the West Coast. Everybody pays attention to everything in NFL because it affects your team if said player ends up not only on your team but just in your division or in your conference at this point. As far as where could he go, but the fact that Barrett Brooks thinks that he's not getting traded is.
Well, can you give us 5 minutes because we have to break here on 2 minutes? I just need your response. That's all. Then you could go run. You could block our numbers and never have to be bothered with us again. We're going to take.
What is the question?
1 second because we're going to be back on Wednesday on the network, Sports Map Radio. Thanks to Ron Culver for hanging with us, producing the show. Overtime comes your way next. Right here on The Middle. And as we say, overtime, phillyvoice.com/The Middle. You're sticking around. Marshall Harris is with us. Jason Martinez is with us. Harry Mays, Barrett Brooks, Eitan Shander each and every day on Philly Voice. following the program, we hang out 5-10 minutes and make sure that we catch up on something we didn't get to or carry over on important stuff. And I don't know anything more important than getting Marshall Harris's response to Barrett Brooks, who maintains on this island. And what's the smallest actual island on a map? Like whatever the smallest island is you can find on any world map, that's where Barrett Brooks is right now on Carson.
He's Guam.
I'm not sure it's an island. I think it's a coral reef at this point.
Right.
Hold on now. I mean, you got to understand. I'm not just the only person, man. I mean, you look at most of the athletes; they're saying the same thing. They're just not saying he's going to stay. They're saying they're pushing it to you like this. Well, in order for Carson to go somewhere, this has got to happen. That's in so many words saying that he's going to be here if this doesn't happen. But nobody's seeing it this way. But look at all the athletes that say, look on any media outlet, the players are saying the same thing. This has got to happen before this happens. Not he's going to get traded.
I think what you're not factoring in here is what if Carson just says, fine, I just won't play right now.
Then they won't have to pay him. He has to fulfill that. He has to fulfill that contract. They would rather not pay him than to pay him $33.8 million to go somewhere else and not be in that locker room. That's not happening. There's 4 things that make me think this. Number 1, the fact that he did not play well, so his draft status, the way in which he's played, his cap. I mean, his value as a player is down.
That's
Number two, they fired a coach for him. Fired Doug Peterson, who was beloved in that locker room. Number 3, they brought in a coach. To fix him.
How do we know that?
Did they check with him before they hired that coach? That's my question.
Yeah,
absolutely. They had to.
Major assumption.
They had to.
Wild assumption. Nick Sirianni. Wait a second. If I want my refrigerator fixed, am I going to bring in an accountant whose first job opening up a refrigerator fixing business? No. I'm going to bring in somebody who fixes refrigerators. Nick Sirianni isn't in the business of fixing quarterbacks.
Wow, how about that?
But he
analogy?
was with the coach that originally had him playing at the highest of his ability. So do you not see the connection of why he brought him in?
Nope.
But go ahead with number 4.
I'm better than Nick Sirianni, but that's just me.
And number 4, they're just not going to get the draft value for him. They're not going to get the draft picks they want for him. They're just not going to get it. They're not going to get it.
Have you ever heard of addition by subtraction, Barrett?
Yes.
Nice. But this is a classic addition by subtraction. You know this as a former player, toxicity and how it leaks into a locker room and you can't get it out. You got to clean it before you can get it out, right?
Yeah.
I think the Wentz falls under that.
Well, let me give you this. Did we not have a player in Riley Cooper say the most toxic thing you can say in a locker room, which is made up of over 75% blacks? And he stayed in that locker room. And not only did he stay, the next year he got a $25 million contract.
Barrett, I don't need to, but I'll just remind you that everything in America is rooted in white supremacy, so that should not shock you at all. That's just fine. That's fine.
At the end of the day, bro.
That was also Mike Vick.
Hold on. Here
Mike
is
Vick
again the sad reality.
Building that bridge there.
The sad reality of this is that Riley Cooper, allegedly, according to reports, got more support in that locker room, which is horrific and reprehensible for what he said,
than Carson
Wentz.
Yeah.
People have turned on what that goes back to Marshall's point about toxicity. It never, and this is why I hate this example. This is why I hate the Riley Cooper example. But people, for whatever reason, stood up in that locker room and said, "We're with Riley Cooper." I can't understand it.
And
it started with Mike Vick.
Let me tell you why. First of all, all right, I get that. It started with Mike Vick, but Mike Vick had just come back for some, past discrepancies, that he had to take care of. So he had to. He felt on
prison time.
Right. So he had to step up in that capacity.
But
he had to.
But
at the end of the day, hold on. At the end of the day, we're saying this right now. But if next year we're at the same place right now, and Carson goes in and he throws about 3 or 4 350-yard games, it'll be water under the bridge. He'll be everybody's favorite son again. The Wentz wagon will be rolling like it's never rolled before. It's all about results. He didn't have the results. If he had If they won 6 more games they won this year, we wouldn't even be talking about Carson
If
Wentz.
and buts.
You saying
Here's the
results
thing,
is it
though.
not about accountability, including self-accountability?
Absolutely.
There's a breaking point for a player, a person, right? With anything. And
Yeah.
I saw this quote from Reuben Frank, and he said the moment that Jalen Hurts was drafted in the 2nd round last year, it broke Wentz. So when you got a broken man, he can't be repaired where the breaking happened.
Right.
He has to be repaired somewhere else. He has to move on.
And I understand that too. He
doesn't have leverage because you're right. He's not going to sit out and forego, $35 million contract. Nobody in their sane mind would do it, but they can't have him here. They can't. It's untenable. So
I'm thinking
they're
the
going to
same
have
thing.
to eat it.
In my head, I'm thinking the same thing from the aspect that makes sense. That yes, he is broken. There's a freaking statue out in front of the backup quarterback instead of him when they won a Super. I get all that, but like I said, in my entire 12-year NFL career, 97% of the decisions that are made by front offices and by teams are monetarily done. The money factor, not athletically, not what goes on in that locker room, is done because of money. And because that's too much money for them to simply just, lay down for a guy that's not in the locker room, that's why I say it's not happening. Okay. I'm not saying I like Wentz at all. You guys are making this though. I'm on the Wentz wagon. I'm
not doing anything but saying that you're.
I like Wentz. I don't want him to trade him, but.
Well, that's the thing. Like, look at this real quick. So much of, I think, Barrett, so much of what you're saying is rooted in Carson's contract right now as it is. Like, there's no sludge, but we also have to factor in, just as Marshall laid out and what Jay and Harry and I were talking about with you earlier, even yesterday, is Carson Wentz does not want to be here.
Absolutely.
So there's now motivation for Carson to rework, to restructure, to do what he can to get out of here.
Find a way.
Yeah, we need to factor that into this equation.
And that's what I'm saying. If he does not find a way, pay back some of the money, his lawyer and his agent figure that out. This owner is not going to just let this guy go without fair compensation for a 2nd pick in the NFL draft. It's just not happening.
You're not going to get.
But look at the number 1 pick in that same draft. Look at the number 1 pick in that same draft. Just got traded because Matthew Stafford was involved
for a number 1 pick also.
But they also had to send 2 first-round draft picks to get rid of them.
Yeah,
just to get that deal done. That's not fair market value for a guy that was a number 1 overall pick in the 2016 NFL entry draft.
I understand that, Jason, but they sent him for another number 1 pick.
Yep.
They understand that they couldn't win with him, but the Eagles know that they can win if Carson just gets a little bit back on track.
I think they know in this circumstance they can't do that because the ship has sailed.
If Matthew Stafford, you guys are looking at it from that number 1 pick the Rams sent away. I'm looking at it from this one. Matthew Stafford, with that team, with the weapons they have, and with that defense, they instantly gain credibility to be a team to win the Super Bowl next year. Not Matthew Stafford.
Yeah. Not even the stank of Detroit on Stafford will ruin that.
Marshall, is there anything you can
Marshall's got to go run.
Seriously, like we've just fired you up now.
I'm going to go run with Marshall.
Yeah.
He's been known that he does all he does do this. He did this for 4 years. He did
Barrett makes me want to go run.
Barrett, you brought this upon yourself. Look, like I said, I'm fascinated by the whole Wentz situation. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I don't think he'll be back next season unless I don't think he'll be back next season. I can't see the how that works for any of the party. Well, I can see how it works for the Eagles if he comes back. He's like, I'm so happy to be here, right. But that's not happening. As you guys said, he is a broken man, and let that man go find peace elsewhere. And I guess if he can restructure his deal to make it work for everybody, fine. As far as him giving back money, that's not what goes on in the NFL. As you guys
not when you get your first payday.
Right. So I don't know. I wish you guys luck in all these Eagles endeavors as you try to figure out how your team is not going to be in the bottom half of the division for the next 5 years. I do wish you that, but remember, we'll always have the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We'll always have Spider-Man on Broad Street.
Speaking of which, Mike Evans just gave back money. People will do it.
Right after you win a Super Bowl.
Mike Evans is playing with Tom Brady.
Yeah. But not an apples to apples comparison.
Try to repeat as Super Bowl champion.
Here's my point of it, though. It's not the end result. I would say it's the motivation. If you are motivated for X or Y, then you will do what you can to sacrifice some money. That's all I'm saying. It's not the same reason why they
sacrifice money here after that gong show of a season.
To get out, Jason. To get out.
Yeah, you would do that. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Is Carson would restructure and sack just to get out, not to come back. Marshall's right on that.
I'm not sure that the Players Association is going to love him doing that. By the way.
Well, he'll get made whole elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe.
All right, Marshall, enjoy your run, brother. It's great seeing you.
Thanks, Marshall.
Appreciate it, man.
Thanks, guys, for having me. I appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great day. Please try to stay up and watch. It's going to be an entertaining basketball.
I'm watching it. I got to watch it now.
I'll DVR it.
I'll watch it. Especially now that I got sack on 7. Thanks, brother. That's Marshall Harris. We're back. Overtime brought to you by Book It Sports. We're back on a Wednesday.
Are you looking for a place to track your action, purchase picks, and share your sports betting analysis with the gambling community? Check out Book It Sports, a social media platform